MLS is back. Tournament is in the books after 5 weeks. We've done it. Congratulations to all those involved. Congratulations to the Portland Timbers for lifting the trophy, getting the $1.1 million and a spot in the CONCACAF Champions League, and showing the prowess and the will to be in a bubble away from your family and friends and all your creature comforts for 5 weeks, going through the whole process to win it. If I was there, I would have probably checked out after the quarterfinals. It is the largest single location soccer tournament in the history, according to Guinness Book of World Records. I think the NBA might beat it, and who cares? But it's nice to be able to puff your chest out after all the doubts about this tournament. 51 matches there on the wide world of sports at Disney World. I'm going to go through everything I liked, and I'm going to start with the short list of things that weren't great. It's a very short list, and I'm nitpicking here a little bit. One, the lack of star power. Obviously, Carlos Vela wasn't there, the biggest star in the league, and a few others checked out early, and it didn't feel like what you would feel in a World Cup, the equivalent. I'm not comparing the two, where you tune in to see the big names. You never really had that feel about the tournament, and that's fine. That's what happened. The lack of pumped-in noise used by ESPN. Look, if we're going to play in an empty stadium, if we're going to play in an empty field, let alone a stadium, it's better at a stadium when you can see the stadium. It kind of frames the game. This in Orlando didn't really do it. And not putting in pumped-in sound, I think they lost a lot. I think Fox and TUDN, Univision doing what they did, put together a better product. That said, the biggest disappointment out of this was the TV numbers. We all held our breath. We knew MLS, it's a long-term fight. This is a long-term project to get people to tune in on TV. It's probably a streaming sport at this point. There's not much you can do about it. But when you see a pop for every sport coming back from the lockdown, and they're getting huge numbers, 10, 20, 30% increases for NBA and baseball. It was an increase, but it was very small for Major League Soccer. In fact, it lost touch to those other sports rating numbers and what was happening behind it. NWSL crept up. WNBA had a nice pop on ESPN, and they closed the gap as well on MLS. So we can't really do much about that. This is a project we all have to get involved with to pick it up. But it didn't happen here. We hoped it didn't. Let's go to the positives, and I'll start from small to big. There was the emergence of the young players. To get that opportunity for them to play regularly, we saw a lot of guys just show that the future is in very good shape. Eric Williams of the Timbers, I love. Jeremy Ebobisse, he's been around for a while. João Moutinho for Orlando City. Diego Rossi scoring 7 goals, getting the Golden Boot, even though he's a known quantity, even though he's just 22. Ayo Akinola emerging. Chase Gaspar of Minnesota United as a fullback I liked a lot. And Brendan Aronson and James Sands of New York City FC, these young players that are going to be in Europe now, and they had this showcase. The middle ground guys that stepped up and made a difference and put teams on their shoulders. Sebastian Blanco, Nani, all these guys that really pushed forward. Erickson at San Jose. This was great to see. They seized their opportunity. So that's one of the big situations when you come across the board. The coaching. At the end, the final 4 teams were all coached by guys that kind of had MLS roots. Adrian Heath, even though he's English, Jim Curtin, and then the 2 finalists in Oscar Pareja and who am I forgetting? Gio Savarese. And the 2 finalists show that Hispanic coaches have to keep getting bigger jobs. U.S.-based Hispanic coaches that went through the league. They got to the final, and they proved their worth. So I'm very happy. Being a fellow Hispanic, I like to see that. VAR. We saw transparency in the implementation of VAR. We heard from during the calls. It's amazing we never even heard this before. Why they're so secretive. That has to go. So hopefully this is the entry point for all other soccer football leagues to perform, where you could, you hear the VAR official communicating with the lead official. He will respond and goes, yeah, I don't think it was a penalty. All right, well, it's your call. They do that in other sports. There's no reason for secret. Not only should referees be heard on a mic, but they should address the media afterwards if there's a big call. If they made a mistake, we're fine. We just want to hear it. Mistakes happen. I hope I'm not alone on this. Mistakes happen. You can't hold these guys accountable. It's a tough job. So hopefully that will come along the ways. This was probably the biggest, well, there's two big things to come out of it. The Black Players for Change, an opportunity to open a dialogue, come together for a cause. The social racial unrest in this country comes to a head right before this tournament started, and the MLS players seized that moment with an incredible, I don't know what you call it, but it was a display where they all came together, protesting specifically what happened to George Floyd, and keeping that throughout the tournament, keeping engaged so that we were talking about it. If we're talking about it, that's a good thing. You don't have to agree with everyone, but that dialogue is important. Why is this happening? Well, this is why. What do you think? Let's keep that going. Now, the biggest thing to come out of this tournament, I remember early July dreading going on Twitter to hear that MLS's back was going to get canceled after FC Dallas players and Nashville players arrived from their markets with several COVID cases. That is on them, first and foremost. I know we'll have an argument here. I don't care. 24 teams arrived with no positive tests, one from Columbus. You arrived with many. That's on you. I will leave it at that. It's the same situation like if you're in a class and 59 kids got there on time and you were late, even though you were like dodging cars, and it doesn't matter, you were late. I was always a late guy. That's what I know about this analogy. So that's on them. So then the league goes on, digs in their heels, has the tournament, and has day after day after day after day after day of zero positive tests. So what was happening in Florida, what was happening in the United States, what was happening in the world, people freaking out. Within that bubble, Major League Soccer created the safest environment in North America, bar none. No positive tests. It was a sacrifice, but they showed what they could do, and it's the next step for them coming into their next phase where they're having games in markets. Some starting with Nashville and Dallas with fans. Take that what you will. I believe in the protocol, and I am giving them the benefit of the doubt. Many people said we should cancel this tournament. Many people said they should cancel this tournament, and I'm just saying now for all of those, you were wrong. You were wrong, and this is why we don't bow down to the court of public opinion on social media, because you don't get the right answers. Let the people who are putting the work in do it. Well done, Major League Soccer, to all those folks, players, coaches, referees, don't forget the referees, everyone involved with MLS, the commissioner who was there the whole time. Job well done. Let's keep going to the next step. While you're there, why don't you subscribe to the Soccer OG.